Story 1. It is not acceptable to fill public spaces with the noise pollution from scrolling through TikTok or any video content that you find indispensable. Story 2. When you are in a group, don't rush to get off the plane quickly and then stop right in the doorway to look for your companions. Move out of the aisle before doing anything else. Story 3. Don't put your feet on the armrests of the person in front of you. I really don't want to move my arm and touch a foot. Story 4. Get to your seat, place your carry-on in the overhead compartment, and sit down. It doesn't take much time if you are prepared to do these 3 things. Story 5. As a flight attendant, I wish passengers knew this. If you need to use the lavatory during beverage service, please be prepared to wait in the back until we finish. Please do not ask us to pull the heavy carts all the way back to let you return to your seat. Story 6. Standing an inch from the baggage conveyor is not going to make your bag arrive faster. Leave space for others to retrieve their belongings. Story 7. When deplaning, let the rows in front go first. Do not try to shuffle up to the front just because you have your bag. Story 8. Not an airplane, but an airport. When you go to the baggage claim, stand back from the carousel until you see your bag. This allows other people to access their bags. Just because you arrived first doesn't mean your bag will arrive first, and it's frustrating how some people stand so close, making it almost impossible for others to retrieve their bags. Story 9. Always leave the middle seat available if it is an option. It was open seating and I had a window seat. A lady took the middle seat and left the aisle seat open. Why? Story 10. Wait your turn to get off the plane. The seats in front of you leave before you. Pushing to the front is my biggest flying annoyance. Story 11. When the flight attendant says, "Please refrain from getting up to use the restroom until all refreshments have been served," do not get up to use the restroom unless absolutely necessary. Story 12. Board when your group number is called, not before. Sit in your assigned seat. If you want someone else's seat, you can ask, but the person has the right to say no. Wear earphones when listening to music or talking on the phone. Do not make other people wait. Store your bag quickly, get to your seat promptly, and depart when it's time for your row. Flight attendants are not bartenders. Give your drink order quickly and do not make it too complicated. Story 13. Asking someone to switch seats so you can sit with whoever you are traveling with is only acceptable when it is a like seat for a like seat. Hey, we both have an aisle seat, but yours is next to my travel companion. Would you mind? Is perfectly reasonable. It is the height of entitlement to even ask someone to give up their aisle or window seat for a middle seat. And no, you being separated from your child on a flight is not my problem. Select and pay for your preferred seat before the flight. The number of people who believe being separated from their child is someone else's problem to fix is astounding. Story 14. While boarding and deplaning, if a passenger near you needs assistance stowing or retrieving their carry-on from the overhead compartment, please help them. Story 15. The person in the middle gets the armrests. Aisle and window seat passengers have the armrests on their side and the advantage of not being in the middle. Story 16. Do not sit in someone else's seat and pretend it is yours until the flight attendant has to be called over to check your boarding pass and see that you are actually 20 rows back. Story 17. At baggage claim, it is not necessary for you and your entire family to crowd around the carousel to wait for your bag. Story 18. Don't stand in the aisle talking to your friend who is not sitting next to you, as you are obstructing the way for everyone else, including the flight attendants who are just trying to do their job. Story 19. If there is someone in the seat, please do not use the seat in front of you as a handrail when moving to your own seat. No one wants to be jolted or jostled because you are using their seat for support. Story 20. Take a shower. Keep your hair, hands, and feet out of others' space. Wear headphones. Do not watch adult content. Place your bags above your seat. Check your ticket and sit in your assigned seat. Unless you were given a different seat through no fault of your own, do not ask for a seat change. Remove your backpack while boarding and deplaning. Use your best manners with the flight attendants. Do not consume alcohol before the flight. Story 21. Don't travel while contagious. Nothing going on in your life entitles you to make everyone around you sick. Accept your bad luck, move your flight, and don't get everyone around you sick. Yes, it's unfortunate, but you aren't entitled to be inconsiderate. Story 22. I don't know much about etiquette, but please build an airplane that can comfortably fit people over 6 feet tall without requiring a first-class ticket or making them sit with their knees to their chest on a flight from New York City to Tokyo. Give people some legroom on the plane. Story 23. Please wear a mask if you are sick or coughing frequently. Also, wash or sanitize your hands. I do not want to catch your illness while I am on vacation. Story 24. More airports require that you put your tray away after going through security. You can definitely tell everything you need to know about a person based on whether they put their tray away. Story 25. Stop putting your bags in the overhead bin in front of the plane when your seat is in the back. Use the overhead bin above your seat. Nowhere else. Story 26. Stop taking so long to get your overhead bag. Grab it and go. I'll never understand why some people take so long and then start fiddling with it. Just get off the plane and handle things outside. Story 27. Do not use the top of the seat in front of you to pull yourself out of and back into your own seat, shaking the unsuspecting passenger in the process. Story 28. The small bag that you are not putting into the overhead goes under the seat in front of you, where your feet are. You do not put the small bag under your seat. That space is for the person seated behind you and their feet. Story 29. It's called a carry-on bag. If you cannot actually carry it, check it. Can't lift it over your head? Pack lighter or get a more appropriately sized bag. If it can't fit under a seat, don't bring it on the plane. You know how little space there is, so stop acting surprised when your oversized luggage doesn't fit. People bring too much onto the plane, then take a long time to stow it and even longer to get out of the way and off the plane. Story 30. When the last person comes to sit in your row, announce to them that they have been selected as row captain, with all the rights and privileges associated with that honor. Then immediately go back to reading your book without saying anything further. Story 31. I consider myself a thoughtful person, so I am reading these comments to gather ideas on how to be a more considerate traveler. I must say, all the comments I have read seem like common sense. Story 32. If you ask me to switch seats and I say no, please keep your comments and attitude to yourself. I had a heated verbal exchange when I wouldn't change seats. I will call you out loudly. Story 33. Do not place your carry-on in the overhead bins at the front before reaching your seat at the back of the plane. Story 34. I had a 2-hour and 15-minute flight, and the woman behind me had a non-stop conversation for 2 hours straight. I don't think she actually stopped to breathe. Story 35. You exit the plane in order of your row. If you are in the back, you do not get to jump out of your seat as soon as the plane lands and rush into the aisle. You also let other people in front of you retrieve their carry-on bags. Story 36. Get on the airplane, stow your luggage, and sit down. Get out of the aisle. The same goes for when you are getting off the plane. Step off the jetway into the airport and keep moving. There is often a group of people just outside the jetway exit, standing there and looking around as if they have just been teleported to another world. Story 37. Put your seat back in the upright position during meal service. I appreciate when flight attendants enforce this. Story 38. You still have to parent your kids. I know you can't control every impulse a small child has, but I have observed parents do nothing while their children disturb others during the entire flight. Story 39. Stand back a few feet from the luggage carousel so others have room to see their bags, and then step up to retrieve yours. Story 40. Do not allow your child to scream and disturb other passengers without at least saying or doing something about it. Yes, it is a child, but some discipline goes a long way. Story 41. The aisle seat has 1 armrest and extra room, the middle seat has 2 armrests, and the window seat has 1 armrest and a wall to lean against. Story 42. If you pass gas, you shouldn't laugh when people start complaining, or everyone will know it was you. Story 43. Keep your child contained and do not let them disturb others. I understand that babies or toddlers may cry, but it is the loud screaming and invasion of personal space that bothers me. Story 44. Shower and brush your teeth before your flight. Personal hygiene is important. Wear headphones. Do not request a seat change if you did not pay for it. Respect the rules. Do not overindulge. Wear shoes at all times. If not, wear socks and keep your feet within your own space. Please do not place your long hair over the back of your seat where it may touch me. Story 45. Flight attendant here. Here are a few things you should do. It's not necessarily etiquette, but good habits you should adopt. When you get on the plane, make a point to find at least 2 emergency exits near your seat and count the rows of seats between you and both access points. If you can't see due to smoke, you can still feel your way out. This is also a good life habit. Always scan the area around you for the closest exit doors. In an emergency, people tend to go back out the door they entered. If there is an active shooter or a fire, you might walk into serious danger. Also, that means you probably walked past 6 other exits to get there. Wear pants and sturdy shoes when you fly. If you have to evacuate, you could get a rug burn from the slide, and flip-flops will not protect your feet from debris on the ground. The majority of injuries during evacuations come from people not dressing appropriately. Wear your seatbelt for the entire flight. Sometimes the worst turbulence occurs during clear weather. Don't get hurt. I get so much joy disrupting people's video calls. Don't be that person. It's also against the law to listen to music without headphones. Invest in a good pair. My favorites are my over-the-ear style headphones. Story 46. When you keep using the headrest of the seat in front of you as a railing to get up and sit down, remember that someone is likely sitting in that seat. Story 47. Traveling can be quite uncomfortable. You do whatever you need to find a bit of comfort. The only rule I have is that my comfort should not be compromised. For example, if you want to take your shoes off, that's fine. You can even go to the bathroom in your socks if you wish. Just keep your feet off my armrest. Story 48. Girls with long hair, your ponytail does not flip over the back of your seat to hang in front of my display. I will lock your hair in the tray table lock. Story 49. Start with the assumption that no one on the plane wants to hear your life story or your medical issues. If someone is wearing headphones or trying to sleep, that's double confirmation. Don't allow children to kick the seat in front of them, or at least have them remove their shoes. Your coat, hair, and child should not hang over the back of your seat or theirs. Glance back before reclining to avoid spilling someone's drink. Story 50. If your child is screaming, thrashing, and kicking, take action. Don't just put on your headphones and ignore them. Story 51. Do not change your child's diaper on the tray table. There are changing tables in the restrooms. The next person to sit there will eat off that tray without knowing what happened on the flight before. Always clean your tray tables. Story 52. When you get up to use the restroom, do not use the headrest of the person in front of you to pull yourself up. Story 53. You are responsible for your children's behavior. That responsibility begins well before the actual trip. If your child is usually out of control, please, for the sake of all the other paying passengers, drive. Story 54. Bringing coughing, sick children on an international flight without masks is concerning. Why would you want to put those around you at risk for illness? Story 55. Do not try to shove your coat or personal items in the overhead bin. Make sure your suitcase is positioned properly in the bin to take up the least amount of space. Wear socks if you are considering removing your shoes. You get one armrest. Keep explicit images out of sight. Keep all audio confined to headphones. Read the room. Not all passengers want to chat. Conversely, you are not required to engage in conversation with anyone. For parents with children, other passengers do not owe any special consideration regarding seating or accommodations beyond airline boarding. Story 56. Keep your shoes on. Everyone. I don't care if you have the freshest smelling feet on the planet. Just put them away. I don't want to see them or potentially smell them. Story 57. Stop rushing the gate when boarding is announced. Most airlines assign a letter for groups. You won't get in any faster. Gate lice is a common occurrence every time I fly. Worse is taking a seat that is not assigned to you and then asking if the rightful passenger is willing to switch. These individuals count on the passenger not wanting confrontation. Never give in to these people. Don't argue either. Get a flight attendant who will make them move. Story 58. If you are a germaphobe who squats over the toilet to urinate, please wipe the seat after you finish, especially if you leave any urine on it. Story 59. This is not the appropriate etiquette at the moment, but there should be a system where, when the plane lands, everyone with a tight connection is allowed to disembark first, and everyone should adhere to this system. There is no need to rush to get off, only to wait 4 hours at the airport while someone might miss their flight if it takes an additional 5 minutes to disembark. Story 60. If you cannot hold your carry-on baggage over your head for 30 seconds and lift it down without assistance or dropping it, please check your bag. It is unpleasant to have a suitcase dropped on your head. Story 61. Only take up your own allotted space. A girl tried to shove her garbage under her seat instead of under the seat in front of her, intruding on my limited legroom. I kept kicking it back until I finally had to lean around the seat and say, "This is my space. I have my things under there." She acted baffled and confused, then proceeded to cough throughout the flight and share with her seatmates all the places she had been, likely making her a potential source of illness. Story 62. Don't talk to me when I have my headphones on. It's a universal sign for, "Please leave me alone," unless you're a flight attendant. I take them off when I see you coming because I know you'll need to ask me if I want anything. To which I reply, "No, because I'm not paying for water." Story 63. I'm really sorry that I am 6 feet 6 inches tall and can't always afford to upgrade my seat. I do not enjoy being tall. I especially do not enjoy taking up your space. There are no alternatives. Story 64. Don't let your kids bother anyone, not even by staring at others. Thank you. They are your responsibility to keep entertained, not anyone else's. Story 65. When you have to get up from your seat, don't grab the seat in front of you to help lift yourself. You may be shaking and possibly scaring the person in front of you. Also, when walking in the aisle, don't hold on to the top of each seat. Hold on to the bins. Remember to wear headphones. Story 66. Plan and pay to sit together. Stop asking people to move because you refuse to pay to sit with your 2-year-old. This is your responsibility, not someone else's who likely paid extra for that seat. Story 67. If you have a backpack on, do not swing it around while you are boarding and placing your other items in the overhead compartment. Story 68. Do not wear perfume or cologne on a plane. Many people are sensitive to fragrances and cannot escape the strong scent from those who use excessive amounts of spray. Story 69. I have done a lot of long-haul flying in almost every class. Here are my recommendations. The person in the middle seat gets the armrests. Be gracious when asked to move for someone who needs to use the restroom. They prefer not to disturb you too. If you have children, ensure they are behaving as much as possible. Do not put hair, clothing, or any items down the back of your seat and block the entertainment system of the passenger behind you. When lowering your seat, do it gently. There is no benefit to injuring a fellow passenger. When deplaning, you will not get off significantly quicker by pushing your way past others. Show a little grace and allow those closer to the door to exit first. If someone needs help retrieving a bag, and you are able to assist, please do so. Remember, even in first class, everyone is in a flying metal tube. It is just a bit less uncomfortable. Generally speaking, be considerate of others. Story 70. You are using a small space in an aluminum tube that is traveling through the air. You are surrounded by other people with their own hopes and fears. Do not smell unpleasant. Do not be dramatic. Wait your turn. Sit down, be quiet, and keep your body, possessions, and sounds to yourself. The flight crew is there for your safety, not as your personal servants. If you are sick or coughing, please wear a mask. If you are very ill, stay home. If you are afraid, engage with your seatmates. Most of us have been there and will help others through their fear of flying. Story 71. Turn your screen brightness down on dark flights. My last flight was a red-eye, and I woke up to being blinded by the passenger next to me with their brightness all the way up and their screen pointed directly in my eyes while they were looking for something. I can't believe I'm the first one to mention this. Story 72. If you have long hair, make sure it doesn't cover the back of your chair, so it doesn't block the entertainment screen of the person behind you. Story 73. 3 seats. Window, middle, and aisle. The window seat has a window and an armrest on the side. The middle seat has both armrests. The aisle seat has access to the aisle and an armrest on its side. Story 74. When I say you are in my seat, it is because I can read. I apologize that you do not want the middle seat, but that is what you purchased. You are in my seat. Story 75. Keep your child's hands and feet within your own space. I was once awakened by a child reaching through the seats to grab something from my tray, spilling my drink on my lap and sued in the process. Story 76. If the plane arrives late and the flight attendants ask passengers to stay seated, so those with tight connections can get off first, remain in your seat. It takes you 45 seconds, but it could cost someone with a tight connection who missed their next flight significantly more time. I have flown nearly 1,000,000 miles in my lifetime, and just last month was the first time ever that I witnessed passengers stay seated after the announcement at the age of 55. Story 77. Unless otherwise stated, when leaving the plane, passengers with connecting flights disembark first. Then, those with no items in the overhead compartments exit. Finally, passengers who need to block the aisle to retrieve their belongings leave last. Story 78. Sit in your assigned seat. Do not use drugs before the flight, as it affects everyone on the airplane. Vaping is not allowed in restrooms, as it triggers alarms and incurs a significant fine. Is the $15,000 fine really worth it for a hit of the vape? Gather your belongings and exit promptly when deplaning. Do not delay other passengers. Story 79. Keep your feet off the armrest in front of you, especially when someone is sitting in the seat. Do not put your long hair over the monitor on the back of your seat, obstructing it for the person seated behind you. Story 80. When it's time to eat, adjust your seat. Leaving your seat reclined makes it difficult for the person behind you to eat their food. You don't need to recline your seat while eating, as you tend to lean forward over your food anyway. Story 81. If it's a red-eye flight, you should be quiet when the lights are turned down because it's bedtime. Avoid talking loudly to your friends in the seats around you. Story 82. Not only plane etiquette, but regular human etiquette as well. Be polite no matter how difficult your day is. Others don't care about your problems, and if you make their lives challenging, you won't get help, or it may come more slowly. Story 83. Leave your shoes on for the love of God, and do not put your feet anywhere near other people. Thank you. Story 84. Use headphones or earbuds. Do not bring smelly food to eat. Keep your shoes on. Keep your feet off my armrests. Do not ask me to switch seats because you did not plan ahead. Story 85. It doesn't matter how much you paid for your ticket or what class you are in. You need to accept that the cabin crew have authority over you, not the other way around. Story 86. Keep to your own space. Your elbows, knees, head, and feet should not be in your neighbor's space. Story 87. I see more bare feet on people's armrests or seats than necessary. Please keep your body parts to yourself and remember that there are other people on board, not just you. Story 88. Your feet should remain on the floor, unless you are armless, like the woman seated near me on a flight who uses her feet with more care and dexterity than some people I know use their arms. Story 89. Use headphones or earbuds. Do not take off your shoes and place your feet near the person in front of you. Do not expect someone to switch seats just because you asked. Story 90. To not clap after every normal landing. What's so special? The pilots successfully completed a landing, as they do multiple times each week. Story 91. If you are in the aisle and someone asks to switch seats with you because they need to get up repeatedly and walk around due to a medical condition, you do not have to switch with them. However, you should not be upset about having to keep moving for them when they do get up. I am the person who had to keep getting up due to a blood clotting condition, and the flight did not offer the option to select certain seats. Story 92. Shoes on. Your seat is your seat. You have no right to ask for another person's seat. Be mindful that if you move your chair, It will impact the person behind you, so proceed slowly. Do not kick or pull on seats, as the person sitting in them may have back issues, and your actions can cause pain. It's a plane, not your living room. Please demonstrate basic manners. Story 93. Most people appreciate a nod rather than a full disclosure about their entire life. I dislike listening to others who talk endlessly, unaware that a polite person might not feel comfortable saying, "Stop." Story 94. Wait your turn to get off the plane. Unless you have an extremely tight connection to make, stay seated until it is your turn to exit. Story 95. Don't get upset with an airline, especially the crew, if a flight is delayed. Often, it's due to a backlog of arrivals at your destination or a rerouting or rescheduling caused by inclement weather or issues with the previous flight. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.